Lex Luthor, known in our reality as Jeff Bezos, this is Earth number 513,
Right.
has just really pissed off people by first not endorsing Kamala Harris when his whole business is built around liberal outrage. And now he's getting a lot of backlash. We can assume he didn't personally strike this cartoon, although you never know. Cartoon of Jeff Bezos that his paper axed goes viral. So let's take a look at this cartoon here. So you have Jeff Bezos there offering money to the idol of Trump. Also portrayed as, obviously this is a rough sketch. He never really finished it because they rejected it. Mark Zuckerberg. And the other one, I forget his name, Patrick. I don't know how you say his last name. He's the owner of the LA Times.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm
Is
not
the
sure.
other one.
Well, what about Mickey Mouse? What's Mickey Mouse doing there?
Well, because ABC agreed to give $15 million. ABC is a subsidiary.
Oh, so he's
Disney.
bowing at his feet.
He's bowing at his
I thought he was
feet.
homeless. I thought he was sleeping under the monument.
Well, at the rate Disney is going.
Yeah.
And then the other one is the open source AI, I think. But the article gets into it. A Pulitzer-winning editorial cartoonist revealed that she quit her job at the Washington Post after management axed her drawing of billionaires, including Jeff Bezos, the paper's owner, bending the knee to Donald Trump. Last month, Bezos, the immensely wealthy founder of Amazon, dined at Mar-a-Lago and his company donated $1 million to Trump's upcoming inauguration, another one. But ahead of the election, Bezos drew fire after the Post management shut down the editorial board's plan to endorse Kamala Harris. In a post on her Substack, Ann Talnias said that she drew a cartoon that criticized corporate types, that's it, Sam Altman, including Mark Zuckerberg, Sam Altman, and Patrick Soon-Shiong, in addition to Bezos, for their efforts to curry favor with the president-elect. Like Amazon, tech giants Apple and Facebook also ponied up $1 million for Trump's inauguration, reported Axios. However, for the first time in her career, Telnius said the paper killed the cartoon because of whom it targeted. That is not entirely true. Apparently, they killed a cartoon that she drew once that portrayed Ted Cruz's children as monkeys. But obviously, this is a very different situation.
Right.
In a post on her Substack, Ann Talnias said that she wrote, "I have had editorial feedback and productive conversations and some differences about cartoons I have submitted for publication, but in all that time I've never had a cartoon killed because of who or what I chose to aim my pen at until now." According to Telnius, the decision represented a failure of the newspaper's obligation to nurture a free press and a democracy. Owners of such press organizations are responsible for safeguarding that free press, and trying to get in the good graces of an autocrat in waiting will only result in undermining that free press, she added. Now, all of that is all well and good. But where was she when they were sending the IRS to Matt Taibbi's house? So here's the problem with all these libs. All of a sudden, they want to fight for democratic institutions when it's the other guys. When it's the other guys in power, all of a sudden they remember freedom of the press. They don't have these kinds of issues when the censorship is coming from their own, as we'll see from some of the people who tweeted out that image. In a statement to the New York Times, the Post's opinions editor, David Shipley, said that he respects Telnius, but must disagree with her interpretation of event. Not every editorial judgment is a reflection of a malign force, he said. No, not everyone, but one where the owner of the paper is being satirized. Getting spiked certainly seems like it would qualify.
You know, they have a super high standard for cartoons. What are they, the Metropolitan Museum of Art of Cartoons? Oh, no, this is just not up to snuff.
Yeah, no, this excuse is hilarious. My decision was guided by the fact that we had just published a column on the same topic as the cartoon and had already scheduled another column, this one a satire, for publication. The only bias was against repetition. Yes, because newspapers never publish a cartoon on the same subject as printed material in the newspaper. They
Right.
never do that. They never do that. In fact, if anything, they will tend to do that.
Well, of course, it makes sense to do that. This way, people are more likely to get the joke of the cartoon.
Right. So yeah, that is one of the most glaring bullshit excuses I think I've ever seen. Never. That's not even a good excuse. Nevertheless, Telnius's story and the cartoon itself, a draft of which showed the businessmen kneeling as they raised bags of money up to a large figure above them, went viral on social media, sparking a wave of criticism against Bezos and his newspaper. The situation is just the latest crisis over the paper's independence from its owner. Bezos' blocking of the paper's Harris endorsement in October prompted 2 columnists to leave, 2 editorial board members to resign, and more than 200,000 readers to cancel their subscriptions. However, last I heard it's 250,000 have canceled. However, the billionaire defended the decision despite the uproar. You remember all those libs proudly posting after the 2016 election about how they had just subscribed to the Washington Post?
Yeah.
It was like their act of resistance, lib rebellion.
Yep. Well, this is karma. This is comeuppance. Yeah, because now that Trump is the hegemon, as we covered in our last segment, all the corporate ownership class is kowtowing to him, which includes Jeff Bezos, and apparently doesn't have a sense of humor about it in his own paper. Like, it's so stupid to do this on the Washington Post part. You should go out of your way to, on occasion, take a mocking shot at Jeff Bezos, because that gives the illusion of an autonomous and free press.
That's the smart way to go. Yes.
The smart way to go is let them get a joke in against you every once in a while, so it looks like you're not controlling them. Don't forget, this is the Washington Post. This is not like the Dallas Morning Star, whatever. It's not like some paper in the country. This is one of the 2 papers of records, the Times and the Post. Those are the gold standards according to mainstream media. So you want to create at least some illusion of autonomy. When you spike a cartoon for making fun of the owner of the paper, especially when the owner of the paper is the second richest man in the world, who's been very publicly courting Trump these past couple weeks, it just stinks. It's so stupid to do this.
And also, if you're gonna lie, go with the nut defense. Say, we were going to publish it, but she resigned before we were able to sit down and have a conversation. We were only holding it until the following week, but she resigned before we had the say that, and she'll deny it, and then you muddied up the waters.
We just didn't
like if you're gonna lie well.
Say it was an artistic thing. We just had some notes. We wanted Mickey. We wanted to see Mickey's face. That was the issue.
Presidential given events with Diddy, we did not want to see the posterior of Mickey Mouse.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Presidential endorsements do nothing to tip the scales of an election. No undecided voters in Pennsylvania are going to say, I'm going with newspaper A's endorsement, he, meaning Bezos, wrote in a late October op-ed in the Post. None. What presidential endorsements actually do is create a perception of bias, a perception of non-independence. Ending them is a principled decision, and it's the right one. Frankly, I don't really disagree with that. The paper shouldn't do endorsements. I don't really disagree with that in principle, that it creates an impression of bias. And usually it just breaks down by the editorial bent of that newspaper. What, you're going to see the New York Post all of a sudden endorse a Democrat?
Yeah, so, right. You usually see it coming.
Sure. So it does show. I mean, what you can't see coming is the New York Times' absolute idiocy of doing things like picking Klobuchar and Elizabeth Warren.
Right.
Like, you can't see that coming. But you knew they weren't going to endorse Trump. Right. So I don't disagree with that. But that's clearly not. Oh, all of a sudden he decided now in this election when the trends were going in a very clear way towards Trump to cancel an endorsement that was already planned. If you want to do that, start in the next election cycle. Announce it way out ahead where there's no personal interest involved. We're not doing this anymore.
Right.
Okay, so this is the thing. a lot of the right wing and the MAGA people, they're very confused. They're finding out that the billionaires don't like them either. But they haven't really found their voice on that. Hopefully they will eventually. So a story about a cartoon of Jeff Bezos on bended knee to Donald Trump. Yeah, the MAGA people are not going to be the ones to pick that up. So they kind of left it on the field for the libs to run with. So right. Elizabeth Warren. Ann Telnaeus resigned after the Washington Post editorial page killed her cartoon. It's worth a share. Big tech executives are bending the knee to Donald Trump, and it's no surprise why. Billionaires like Jeff Bezos like paying a lower tax rate than a public school teacher. Now, Liz, I agree with you. I fully agree with you. But aren't you a member of the party that literally put a billionaire on stage at the DNC to brag about being a real billionaire as opposed to Donald Trump? Doesn't seem like you.
That's the governor of Illinois.
Yeah. Did you speak out about that? Did you say this is disgusting? This is grotesque? I'm embarrassed of my party? No. These people, just like Bernie, all of a sudden I haven't heard shit about Medicare for All for 4 years. All of a sudden he wants to talk about Medicare for All again. I guess nobody needed health care these last 4 years.
Right.
All of a sudden we need it again. The medical bankruptcy stopped for the last 4 years. Brooklyn Dad Defiant. Good morning and happy Sunday to everyone who agrees that editorial cartoonist Ann Telnaeus is a hero for resigning from the Washington Post when they refused to publish this spot-on accurate cartoon. Democracy dies in cowardice, Jeff Bezos. Make sure everyone sees this. Yeah, no, you know what would have made her a hero for me? If she had resigned in the middle of COVID over the fact that they made Bill Gates an unelected healthcare czar. That would make her a hero. This doesn't make her a hero. She'll be fine with the libs and the Lincoln Project people. Charlie Sykes, to fully absorb the profound, he makes your point. To fully absorb the profound stupidity of WaPo's decision, consider the alternative timeline. If the WaPo had published Telnaeus' cartoon, the paper would have reasserted a modicum of independence and integrity, and even Bezos would have benefited. He gives them more benefit of the doubt than we do, but same basic point. Instead of looking like a thin-skinned, craven autocrat, he would have looked like someone big enough to tolerate criticism. Instead, he told us again who he really is. So really, if you take what you said and what he's saying is he's gullible enough for what you said he should have done to have worked on him.
Right. Yeah.
See, if Bezos had done that, I would have bought it.
Right.
Protect Kamala Harris. It's amazing they haven't changed the name of this account. This is Ann Telnaeus. That's going to be a full-time job. Ann Telnaeus, a longtime political cartoonist for the Washington Post. She resigned yesterday after owner Jeff Bezos blocked her cartoon, critical of billionaires for bowing down to Donald Trump. See, here's the thing with people. They don't have a criticism of billionaires for existing. That doesn't occur to them. It's fine if they're their billionaires. Retweet if you stand with Ann Telnaeus against Jeff Bezos. Now with the 5.8K, I'm sorry, the thirst trap isn't quite working out for this account. They're not doing very well. Even the libs do not want to follow an account called Protect Kamala Harris anymore.
Yeah.
So there you go. You know, the libs, they're not wrong. They're just hypocritical. And as I said, MAGA will not pick up this story because it's too confusing for them. They have no idea how to address a story like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's fairly obvious. Like he said there. It just is such a shot in your own foot to do this. Who cares? Who cares that one of your cartoonists is taking a pot shot? Oh, he's groveling to Trump. Everybody knows he's groveling to Trump. The people who are still reading the watch, like, what, somebody's going to unsubscribe over a cartoon? How many people are even going to read this cartoon? Like, It's not like you have an op-ed blasting the guy. And even if you did, you should print it.
And even if you did, print it.
You got to print it. Like, you can't look like you're protecting the owner of the paper when it's a paper of this stature, right? Yeah, I mean, it is considered to be one of the two real papers of record for the entire country, and it's owned by the second richest man in the world. So to kill a cartoon that very playfully makes fun of what everybody already knows, which is that Bezos is sucking up to Trump right now. Yeah, it's just a bad look. Now, what he said, well, this makes Bezos look thin-skinned. It makes him look thin-skinned kind of secondhand because, as you said at the top of the segment, I would highly doubt that Jeff Bezos was involved in this decision at all. But it does show that people at the Post are afraid that he'll react badly if he sees it there, which does not look good. It does not look good.
From articles that I've read with Bezos, he doesn't feel like he has to get involved with editorial because that's not what he bought the paper for. He bought the paper for access.
Right.
It gives him access to Washington figures because he's the owner of the Washington Post.
Exactly, which is all the more reason just to print it.
Exactly.
Big deal.
Just leave it alone.
Just do it. Just leave it alone. Exactly. But they did not. They meddled. They meddled.
Please clap.